Gold is being purchased primarily by sovereign wealth funds, central banks. They understand that the dollar is going to get smoked, and whatever dollar balances they have, those are going to be black holes on their balance sheet. So what they're doing is they're stocking up on gold as a way to try to replenish their balance sheet when things collapse. Because gold and silver cannot default. They cannot be diluted permanently. They can be diluted temporarily, which is what COMEX does and LBMA does by selling naked contracts. But what that'll lead to, and I've said this all along, it will lead to failure to deliver. My opinion is silver will fail to deliver first. But once you get a failure to deliver in either market, the other one blows up and all markets will blow up because that will
Billy.
be the confidence cracking event.
So you said the financial system's a house of cards. We're going to go right into this. How close are we to the moment where this
Okay.
whole thing topples? And what do you think the trigger is going to be?
Uh, I mean, the timing of it is hard. I mean, they've canned down the road so many different times. The timing is hard. If you look at the broad picture, I mean, look at the debt outstanding on all the sovereign treasuries and central banks worldwide. Look at the position of the United States. We're paying 1.5 trillion in interest only. I mean, that is now more than we pay for military, and the military is we pay more for the military than the rest of the world combined pay for their militaries. Uh, it's upside down. I mean, it's just the 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 debt cannot be repaid in current terms. And that brings us to uh, what Richard Russell used to say, inflate or die. And when he says inflate, basically what that means is cheapen the currency and pay with monkey money.
Love it. Do you think the governments and the central banks kind of like see what's coming as well? And like, are they trying to or like in like it's inevitable to them as well, and they're just playing the game of however they're trying to play the game to keep everybody happy? And like, what do you think they're doing to prepare behind the scenes? Are they doing like, what do you think they're trying to do?
I think they've already done it. They started preparing in 2014. They started changing
What happened then? What was in
the ownership.
2014? Sorry?
They, they started all over the world. They started changing the ownership laws with financial institutions, the ownership with of your stocks with brokers, with banks, etc. Uh, and those laws are on the books all over the world. The ink is dry, and if you want to find out, every one of those laws worldwide is footnoted in the Great Taking. That's where this goes. The governments have spent all the money they could legally get. Now they're going to try to siphon up, in my view, illegally people's assets. People don't understand. If you own stocks with a broker and your broker goes out of business, those stocks are not yours. They're on your
Yeah.
broker's books. And when your
Yeah.
broker goes down, whoever your broker owes is going to claim your stocks for their payment.
Yeah.
The stocks that you own are for your benefit, but you are not the outright owner. Same thing with a bank account. When you put money into a bank, you are not depositing, you are lending to the bank. You become, once you put money into the bank, you are the most subordinate lender there is. You get paid last.
Yeah.
So
That's what I say to people too.
that's the plan.
Yeah. So I've said to people too, it's like if these banks go under, doesn't matter what you have in your safety deposit box, you ain't getting inside,
Go on, go on.
right?
Yeah, they're a not safe deposit box. It's the
Yeah.
worst place.
The
I mean,
unsafety
the
deposit
only worst
boxes.
place to do is just throw it out on the street. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, do you think this gold and silver like price suppression is like one of the biggest financial crimes of all time?
Yeah, it is, but you need to understand why they did it. I mean, they cannot have And although now you're starting to see it, but you can't have a gold price going straight up and confidence remain. And that's what the gold and silver prices right now are telling you, is that confidence is in the process of breaking.
Yeah, I remember being at a Keith Schaefer did a little dinner with a bunch of newsletter writers, and one said, "Yeah, gold does well when people stop believing in the system." So gold's now just, I think, kiss $3,700 today. What's that telling us?
Well, gold is being purchased primarily by sovereign wealth funds, central banks. They understand that the dollar is going to get smoked, and whatever dollar balances they have, those are going to be black holes on their balance sheet. So what they're doing is they're stocking up on gold as a way to try to replenish their balance sheet when things collapse. Because gold and silver cannot default. They cannot be diluted permanently. They can be diluted temporarily, which is what COMEX does and LBMA does by selling naked contracts. But what that'll lead to, and I've said this all along, it will lead to failure to deliver. My opinion is silver will fail to deliver first. But once you get a failure to deliver in either market, the other one blows up and all markets will blow up because that will
Billy,
be the confidence cracking event.
I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, that there's probably been a lot of people that have been failed to deliver, but somehow they got bailed out somehow, some way by some sort of mechanism, right? Did,
Well, yeah, you saw that in 2008. I mean, all the trillions that were spewed all over the world. You saw that, or you've seen that going back 10, 15, 20 years. There was speculation that longs that would stand for delivery all of a sudden vanished. And the belief was they were getting paid 20, 25% fiat premiums to just walk away. What would happen is, and let's just use a number of 10,000 contracts would be standing for delivery on first notice date. And by final notice date, it might be down to 3 or 4,000 contracts. Now you start with 10,000 contracts, and by the end of the month, it's 15, 20, 30,000. So what's happening is you've got buyers that are coming in during the month and then standing for delivery. And what that does is that's going to take an awful lot, or it's taking an awful lot more physical out of the inventories and bringing that failure to delivery moment, much more forward.
yeah, the day is coming without a question. The day
Oh,
is
it's
coming.
going to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it will happen.
Yeah, yeah. Like I talk a lot about like market manipulation in the gold and silver market, and people think I'm just like a weird conspiracy theorist and all this bullshit, right? How do you respect to like skeptics who dismiss this and what I think is decades of evidence?
At this point, I would probably not even,
Care?
whatever. You have your
It's just like, don't
opinion.
believe
You
me.
have your Yeah, don't believe me. I don't care at this point. I mean, I've tried to wake up as many people as possible. If you don't want to listen to me, that's fine. But don't come knocking on my door when the shithouse comes down and asking for food because you won't get food. You'll get something else in return.
You get a cold shoulder, a big fat cold shoulder. So we just talked about silver. Why do you think that that one's going to be the one to fail on delivery first?
Oh, because it's the smallest market by far.
Okay.
I mean, the whole market, global production is what, 25 billion a year, maybe $30 billion a year at these current prices.
Hmm.
Uh, $30 billion today is nothing. I mean, you've got individuals that could write checks for $30 billion, and that's total global production for a year. It's in a structural deficit, 450 to 500 million ounce deficit over the last 4 to 5 years. The inventories on COMEX have, and especially LBMA, have have lessened. Uh, it's just the easiest market to break because it's the smallest, and it also has the most. I mean, if you compare it to gold, gold has monetary demand. That's it.
Hmm.
Silver has monetary demand. It has demand. Well, gold has jewelry demand too. Uh, but silver's got medicinal demand, industrial demand, technological demand.
All sorts of new demands.
It's
Yeah.
well, and every time we fire uh, these high-tech missiles were firing a monster box of silver. I mean, the amount of silver that's used military in the military is unbelievable.
I didn't even
So
think
there's
of that.
just so many different silver, um, and it's such a small market. There's no backup. There's no big pool of silver sitting anywhere. Whereas central banks all over the world, do hold large balances of gold
Yeah,
above
and
ground.
silver, and I don't remember the percentages off the top of my head, but I know that silver is mostly produced as a byproduct from like gold mines and copper mines and lead and zinc mines, right?
Yeah,
And like so you're in a little bit of like
70%.
the destiny of kind of what those metals are doing too, and how much of that new production's coming online, et cetera, right? So yeah, silver is super interesting right now. I would agree.
Well, what you're describing is that the supply is very inelastic.
Hmm.
I mean, you could make silver $100 an ounce tomorrow night, and the amount of supply that would be coming online uh, out of the ground would barely budge
Would
because
barely budge.
you could find silver in the ground today, and it'll take you 5 years, 7 years, 10 years to get your first ounce out of the ground.
If you're lucky.
So it's a very inelastic supply.
Yeah, yeah. Um, What would you say to people who think that silver is just like an industrial, silly little metal? Like, I guess we just talked about that, like all the new use cases for silver.
Um, I would just say you're wrong. I mean, what do you say? Let me just point this out. Uh, I was a broker up until 2006. I left the country late, the very end of the year, thinking 2007 and 8 were gonna happen. They happened. I was out. Um, but as a broker, and I did this as a branch manager, and for a branch manager to be getting calls from compliance once a week or once every 2 weeks, because I built one of the largest gold, silver, and mining share positions in the country. We knew we knew back then that there was manipulation. We couldn't prove it, but we knew it. You could see it. You could see anything that uh, would be gold bullish or silver bullish. They would smash gold, they would smash silver. And then, of course, they'd point at the price and say, see, gold bad, dollar good. And that's so for you to say, uh, all I'm trying to say is I've been through this way many, many, many more years than you have. People giving me crap because I had this crazy view that, oh my gosh, turned out to be right.
So we're bullish. I'm super bullish on gold and silver. I've been my entire career. And like when people are holding like ETFs and like mining shares, like, and this game ends and the music stops, what do you think is going to happen to like those people? Like when the game stops, do you think
Uh,
like even these gold mining shares just get killed?
no, I don't. But I do think the people who own ETFs will get killed because you cannot get a certificate from an ETF. But you could go out and buy Newmont, you could buy Barrick or any list of individual companies and take and have the certificates delivered to you.
Right. Okay.
So if your broker goes down, who cares? You got the certificate, you have the title,
Yeah.
you got the car title or the deed or whatever you want
But
to
you
call
can't
it.
get that from an
That's what a
ETF.
certificate. No, you cannot.
Now that
So
is
if you have
something
an
that
ETF,
is something I did not know. That is
yeah, if
very
you own a
valuable
you
information.
own an
Very,
ETF,
very valuable information.
well, yeah, because your broker is going to gobble it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Huh.
when your broker fails, it's going to be part of their bankruptcy, part of their restructuring,
Yeah. And then
and
no
your
wonder they push
assets are
them
going to
on
be
and no wonder they push them on you because then they get to hold them in their treasury and you can't like take it out.
right. And I mean, think about this: these companies that say, oh, 7.95 for a trade. You want to trade $5 million. The cost is $7.95. That's not a business model. There's no way they could be making money with that business model, and they're not. What they're doing is you put money in with them, you buy a stock, and probably before the end of the day, that stock is lent out and borrowed against. So your stock is now not even it's been lent away. That's how they make their money. And that's why these brokers want assets under management, because they get paid for all the assets under management because they lend all the certificates, everything out.
Wild. This is such an important message that I want my listeners to fully understand. Right? Like when you are depositing, I don't care if it's
Well,
a bank or brokerage house, they're just taking your assets and making money off your assets. Bottom line,
correct.
right?
And then when the shit house comes down, they say, "Oh, sorry, you know,
Yeah.
we failed, and you lost you lost what we were holding for you for your benefit." That's the way it is right now. They're holding it for your benefit. It's no longer you own it.
I'm getting pissed off because like since the day I was born, I was being taught to
Welcome
trust the
to the
banks and
club, pal.
trust the government and trust the banks and trust the teachers and trust the Western medicine. Like how good is that done for me, right? Not very well.
We've been lied to about everything.
Crazy. It's just
Everything.
yeah, yeah. Okay, this is super valuable. If you got one message to shout out to people who don't own physical gold or silver, like what's that one message you're going to tell people?
If you can afford to do it, you definitely need to own some silver for barter.
Hmm.
And if you can't afford to do it and you haven't gotten your monies out of the system, you got to take care of yourself. Nobody's going to take care of you for you. So you got to be proactive and get off the railroad tracks, because I mean, this is a train of bankruptcy that's coming and is going to run everything over that's on those tracks. Got to get out of the system.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. My partner, Jim Sinclair, who passed away a couple of years ago, I mean, he originally started talking about get out of the system, I think in 2004.
How do people get out of the system?
If you have a big bank balance, you can either leave it with the bank, or you can buy gold and silver, and that's your form of savings. If you have a brokerage account, uh, you can have the certificates issued out to you. Now you're completely out of the system. The whole idea is to get the intermediaries that are between you and your money out of the picture, so that you have control of your own money.
Which I also find hilarious because
And
if I wanted to pull out like 100 grand cash from the bank, the hoops that they would make me go through to get my cash would be insane.
yeah, they'd give you a hard time, but why would you take cash? Cash is going to burn. It's going to go to zero.
Well, I'd buy
Whatever
gold with
cash you have,
it.
yeah, exactly. But
Right? Like,
if you have 5 or 10,000 cash on hand, that's a reasonable number. But when things go bad, spend it immediately, because within 2 or 3 weeks, it's not going to spend.
gonna be
The
worth
dollar
nothing.
initially will go up in purchasing power when banks close, because there won't be enough dollars on the street. But within 2 or 3 weeks, people are going to say, or farmers will say, hell no, I'm not taking dollars for my eggs or my chickens or my pigs or whatever. Farmers will say, I want something real for something real.
Hmm.
Well, that would be silver, or that would be gold, or that would be, whatever you have to barter with that's
Lumber
real.
for
But
their home. Something. Yeah.
yeah, and if you're talking about taking big balances out, you take the money and you put it into gold, or you put it into silver, into something that cannot bankrupt. The whole idea is the world is bankrupting. So you need to be in a position where your assets will not bankrupt. The whole idea is you want to be the one of the last men standing with wealth. You want to make it from here to the next system with wealth. And the next system, which we haven't talked about, is definitely going to include central bank digital currency. Now, the problem with that is when the world runs on a central bank digital currency, and you and I have an interview like this, what's going to happen? Probably before the end of the day, our accounts are shut off. So unless you've got something out of the system that can support you, you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we have to talk about Bitcoin here. Right. So I hate Bitcoin because I
Yeah,
can't
what
touch
is
it.
it?
And it's still it's a bunch of zeros and ones. I truly don't know. I truly
It's a
don't
great
know.
speculation.
Yeah.
It's a great speculation. It is not a store of value. And the reason I say it's not a store of value because you have to question what is it actually?
I don't
What
know.
is it?
I don't know. And I'm not embarrassed to say I don't know because I just
It's
truly can't wrap my head around it.
it's something, it's an I don't know that has a perfect blockchain of accounting for it. So you have a perfect accounting of I don't knows.
100%. 100%. You got to think of like what percentage of people are buying Bitcoin that truly don't even know what they're buying. They just think you're right. It's just a speculation game to them. So,
Well, and here's a question. What happens when the grid goes down? What
well,
happens when
that's one great question I
close?
have.
Do you think
That
a farmer is going to accept a Bitcoin?
no,
You
not
think
in a million
you think
years.
a farmer is going to accept a Bitcoin? No.
No.
And at some point in time, access to food is going to be your number one priority. Food and clean water.
Yeah. I I always just I continue to think like what if Bitcoin got hacked? This what if and everyone says, "Oh, it can never get hacked." But no, yeah, sure. Rome also could never collapse. Right? Like I could think of a million things that the world didn't think could ever happen that have happened. And just the amount
Well,
of wealth that would get wiped out, it's just insane.
you have other parts of the world now speculating that the U.S. is behind pumping up the uh, the cryptos in order to build a crypto reserve to pay the $37 trillion off. So, you're paying monkey money off with monkeyer money.